The Munich talk given in the middle of America, and the election was won. Now, the fact is that the composition of the public in America is not that different than the composition of publics across Europe. We have a legacy conservative establishment. We have our new, much younger Trumpian new conservatives, and you add them up and they are about half the country. You go around Europe and you see what has been happening in the rise, and I think President House does acknowledge that the new conservative parties are on the rise. They've been doing better in successive elections, and this is true it's true in Spain, in Germany, in France, across the continent, in Poland. We win some, we lose some. Even Sweden is coming along. And if you look at the establishment of the new parties, it's about 50%. The difference is that because of the political systems, we were able to win an election. We have a two-party system rather than multi-party. We have a first past the post composition of the way things work rather than proportional representation. So we do not have this problem that we have in Europe, that the legacy establishment conservatives would rather make league with the Greens and the Marxists and the hard leftists than to permit the new rising younger generation of patriotic conservatives into the fold. In America, we had the same thing. A lot of the old establishment conservatives, including people that I worked with in previous generations, went out and campaigned for Kamala Harris because they were so opposed to Donald Trump. It's a very similar situation as you see in Europe, but because of our political system, we were able to get over the top, and we have a new era in our politics. I don't want to go on much longer. Let me just say that it's always easy to despair. You look around and you see things are going in negative ways. The people that are politically active have to think about ways of addressing the general public, individuals who do not spend their lives in politics. And I would take the term common sense from President Trump's inaugural and from President House's remarks. I think that the Patriots, the new young conservatives, the equivalent of the people who have won the presidency in the United States, even if you are despairing inside, you have to be confident on the outside. You have to simply assume what is correct, that most people, if they understand what we are in favor of, are going to go along with the common sense that we have. Our enemies, our opponents, are fearsomely powerful. They have the high reaches of power in Brussels and so much of the media and in academic life. But you have to start thinking as if you're actually going to win, that you're actually going to be in charge. And these problems that we have are going to be our problems. Because once you're in government, you're not just a lone wolf crying in the wilderness and despairing at how terrible it is. You're actually responsible for making things better. And you have to think about the sentiments of the broad public. You have to make alliances and compromises with other people on the inside that don't always completely agree with you in order to achieve the larger goals that you have in mind. That is what we're trying to do in the United States right now. And on being something of an insider at the Heritage Foundation and having many close friends working in the White House and around the Trump administration, when you're actually in charge like that, you see, we actually have some disagreements. We don't agree on everything. We agreed on the egregious problems of the Biden-Harris administration. We thought that we were at a crossroads. We actually thought if they won the election, it could have been the end of America. And I believe that that was not the usual sort of partisan political hysteria. I think it was just a fact. But now that we're in charge, we have hard decisions to make. what is characteristic of hard decisions is that there are good arguments on both sides. So we have a lot of disagreements, but there has been so much progress. We took control of the borders. You know, the Conservatives came into power in the UK, they never did anything about their borders. In 2 months, America suddenly has secure borders again. It's just been a miraculous change. Racial politics, diversity, equity, inclusion, an issue of particular sensitivity in America. There's been a 180-degree change. And you find young black men, they're just so happy to be relieved of this awful world that, you know, well, if you're black, you get to jump the line and you get special privilege. They don't want that. Now they're back to being real Americans again. It is a cultural change that's resulted from the change in the government. We're going back to a powerful energy economy. These things can actually happen. Now, there are disagreement on some matters. We're going to see some real disagreements on tax policy in the next couple of months. I should say on deregulation, I was President Reagan's deregulation czar. The deregulation czars in the Trump administration are putting me to shame. These people are really terrific, and we're going to be unwinding federal controls over the economy right and left. It's going to be wonderful to see. We've had disagreements on tariffs. Let me say one final word on what is happening in tariff policy. There have been a variety of views of what we are trying to accomplish. If the status quo continues from last week, I should say there is an aspect of, there are a lot of free traders in the administration. And on certain days, Trump is a leading free trader, but he is angered by the fact that so many foreign countries have much higher tariff barriers than we do. He is committed above all to restoring the American dream for working class people whose incomes have fallen, who suffered under inflation and a variety of problems, including the overregulation of the economy that makes it impossible to build a manufacturing plant anymore. That's not China's fault. We can blame China for a lot of things. That's our fault, and we can cure that. He's trying to do many things. The 10% tariff increase, it basically moves America in the direction of a tariff situation such as the EU. I mean, it's not, because our tariffs were much lower. Now it looks like they're going to be about the same. It could be that we will be negotiate, that you see some talk about we would like to negotiate lower rates. And in fact, in his first term, President Trump said, my ideal tariff regime for the United States and Europe is zero tariffs. Now, I actually don't think that's going to happen because I don't think Europe wants it. Tariffs are intensely political, and I don't think Europe wants wide open markets for American beef, chicken, and agricultural products. As an American, I think that'd be great. We'd like to sell our wonderful stuff to you, but you've got a lot of farmers over here that have very strong views. That the nation state is what it is. You work with it. It is the source and protector of our freedoms, but it has certain politics to it. So I think we're going to continue to have some tariff barriers. I think that there's still going to be a lot of trade involved and a lot of opportunities for improvement in the period ahead.